Now, the history of the schism between Sunni and Shia Muslims goes back 1,400 years, but the roots of the latest struggle in Iraq are more recent, with many identifying the US-led invasion of the country as the catalyst. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, traces the strands of today's crisis.
Remember shock and awe? Saddam Hussein's dictatorship fell quickly.
Goodbye, Saddam!
And with it, the dominance of his minority Sunni sect in Iraq.
The United States and our allies have prevailed.
Scarcely. As the Americans celebrated, a rebellion against US occupation was brewing. Sunni and Shia began to fight each other, and Iraq became fertile territory for the Americans' greater enemy, Al-Qaeda. 18 months and thousands of deaths later, US forces did prevail over Al-Qaeda and its Sunni allies in the city of Fallujah. But Iraq's sectarian civil war between Sunni and Shia continued. Realizing that they had to get Iraq's Sunni sheikhs on board, the Americans created the Awakening Councils. Sheikhs who agreed to cooperate with the Shia-dominated government in Baghdad and fight the jihadis got weapons, money and political recognition. It worked. Al-Qaeda in Iraq was beaten, for now. But Nouri al-Maliki, who the Americans had pushed forward for election as Prime Minister, was not a man to bridge Iraq's sectarian and political divides. After the 2010 elections, backed by Iran, he refused to cooperate with Sunni politicians. He drove some into exile, imprisoned their supporters, and stopped paying the Awakening Councils. Disaster was in the offing.
But we're leaving behind a sovereign, stable, and self-reliant Iraq.
When the last American soldiers left, the way was clear for Prime Minister Maliki to consolidate Shia power, further alienating Iraq's Sunnis and their regional ally Saudi Arabia. Sunnis who started demonstrating in places like Fallujah and Ramadi were brutally suppressed by Maliki's increasingly sectarian military. The jihadis who'd been concentrating on Syria saw their chance. In January, the newly formed ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and al-Sham, captured Fallujah and Ramadi, greeted enthusiastically by many local Sunnis who loathe Maliki and his government in Baghdad. Now they've taken Mosul, Tikrit and much of central Iraq. The influential Ayatollah al-Sistani has called for Shias to fight for their country and their religion. The danger now is that sectarian war will not be confined to Iraq, but pull in rival regional powers, Shia Iran against Sunni Saudi Arabia, in a conflict that could engulf the entire region.